Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Spanish Interpreter Reacts to Interpreters in Movies and TV. So this is the second video. The first one was enjoyable for me to make, but I know it was like over 30 minutes long, so I'm going to try and be more concise in these ones. So I have 3 clips today, one from the TV show Archer and 2 clips from the amazing TV show The Shield. Viewer discretion advised. There's a lot of cursing in the one about The Shield. I'll put up a alert before that. Let's just jump right into the Archer episode.
Raja Lima! Raja Lima! Kitty Memaragun Raja Baru!
Whoa. Bucky, what is this?
We hold erection for king!
Well, that's flattering. It's not really necessary.
He means elections.
Oh, well, that makes more... Wait, what?
Time for new king! Raja Baru!
Okay, pirates, hey. Take a knee. Noah, you wanna...
That won't translate. It's like last week when you said, lend me your ears, and they were like, Appa!
Damn it.
So first off, as we discussed last time, he doesn't want him to translate, he wants him to interpret. The other thing is he just said the interpreter that's there, who I don't, again, think is an actual interpreter, but he said that he can't translate or he can't interpret take a knee because it's an idiom. It doesn't translate. So can you interpret, can you translate idioms? He said take a knee, he said lend me your ears. Is that difficult to interpret? No. Of course not. So maybe take a second and think. Instead of saying take a knee, which might not translate if you said it literally, what else could you say? I would say, hey everyone, stop and look at me. The other one he says is lend me your ears. Can you think of any way that you might be able to interpret that? If you said, hey guys, listen for a second, that sounds pretty good to me.
I can't do idioms, sorry.
Shut up. Well,
You
then
can do
shut up
idioms.
and tell them that I understand their frustration.
Do you? Saya mendengar Anda.
But you don't change horses in mid...
Idiom.
Right. All right. Now is not the time for a new king.
Sekarang tidak ada Raja Baru.
Because the king is strong.
Raja yang kuat.
If you so strong, Melawan Raja!
What's Melawan Raja?
Oh, king fight. If the king loses to a challenger in one-on-one combat, he has to step down. Oh, one thing.
Noah, shut up and translate. I accept your challenge.
Okay. Kabaran Ditarima.
Because your mouth's been writing checks, your butt can't cash.
Anda. Do you even know what an idiom is?
Colloquial metaphor.
No, well, okay, actually, yes. But really, I think this is a bad idea.
So a really good interpreter who's not only proficient in 2 languages, but is like fully bilingual, and I mean grew up with all of the idioms and sayings and phrases in both languages, that person could probably not only interpret the idea or the feeling, the meaning behind it, but could probably find a similar idiom or just an idiom, some saying that has a similar meaning. But it's not necessary to be that proficient in both languages that you can just on the fly come up with an equivalent phrase or saying in another language, as long as you know what the saying means and you can express the same idea. However, your mouth has been writing checks that your butt can't cash. That's a difficult one, I guess you could say, but I don't think that you have the physical strength to back up the aggressive words you're using. So that's Archer. So the next clip is from the TV show The Shield, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. And there are at least 2 scenes that I know where they use an interpreter actually as an interpreter in a professional setting. This is the first of those clips. Viewer discretion or warning, language warning. There's a lot of graphic language, but I would literally have to beep out the entire thing, so I'm just going to do it. So don't let your 4-year-old kids stand in the room. Use headphones or something.
Here. Now, where are these kids, lady?
Señora, ¿dónde están todos estos niños?
Not exactly his type.
No eres exactamente su
Nixon
tipo.
was in office the last time you could pull off wearing a skirt.
Nixon era presidente la última vez que te pusiste una falda.
Rodrigo likes the young bloods.
A Rodrigo le gustan las jovencitas.
Escúchame bien, pedazo de mierda.
Listen to me, you piece of shit.
So, couple things. One, as we talked about before last time, there's consecutive interpreting and simultaneous interpreting. Consecutive is back and forth with pauses in between. Simultaneous is when you're just going. Something that Officer Hanlon does here that I really, really like, and I liked when I had the opportunity to do it when I was working as an interpreter, is she's kind of overlapping or almost segueing from consecutive into simultaneous. So if both parties are okay with it and it's not distracting to them, if you can anticipate that someone is wrapping up a sentence, you can start to interpret to the other person. This is also good if someone is talking too long. You can, and you know that you're not going to be able to remember everything they're saying, you can go ahead and start interpreting, and that is like their cue to stop talking. Also, I mentioned last time how sometimes providers would say something under their breath and then say, oh, don't interpret that. We can see the reason why that's a problem here.
Escúchame bien, pedazo de mierda.
She hesitated because it's offensive. But what did both people do? They looked at her because it's her job to do that. If this lady is comfortable saying it, the interpreter needs to be comfortable interpreting it.
Listen to me, you piece of shit.
Yo no conozco estas chavalas y nunca las he visto.
I don't know these girls that I've never seen them
Y
before.
yo no tengo que hablar con ningún pinche policía.
I don't have to talk
Esto
to
me
no
ponía a mí
goddamn
a
cops.
pura mierda de gringo.
This is just more gringo bullshit.
Amenazándome a mí, una pobre vieja
Threatening me
enferma
because
porque
I'm
soy
some poor,
mexicana.
old, sick
Ojalá y que
Mexican.
tu pinche verga infectada de
I hope
sífilis
your
te lo rampe
syphilis
un perro y
infected
se la dé de tragar a
gets
tu
ripped
pinche
off by
madre.
rabid
Y que tu
dogs
madre se
and gets
pudre
fed
en
to your
el
poor
madre se
mother
pudre
and makes you rot in hell.
That's enough of that.
I want to talk to an attorney.
Did you get that?
Wow, that's so great. The interpreter is amazing. She just segues into simultaneous. She just raises her voice to talk over the patient. She raises her voice to talk over the suspect, which in this situation isn't rude. She's not cutting the suspect off. She's just making sure that the police officer can hear what's being said. Officer Hanlon really is, she's being a great conduit, as we said, and she's also using or being good at what's called transparency. Transparency in interpreting just means that the interpreter's trying to facilitate an environment in which both people almost feel like they're speaking the same language. It's almost like the interpreter's not there, which involves speaking in the first person, which she's doing. And this is also just a great reminder that you never know who in the room speaks what languages. She obviously speaks English, and even though they don't show it in this scene, Vic Mackey speaks some Spanish. I don't think Michael Chiklis speaks Spanish, but the character Vic Mackey speaks Spanish some. So in summary, good things. The interpreter is speaking in the first person. She is transitioning between consecutive and simultaneous according to the feel of the room, and she's modifying the way she's interpreting to accommodate the people that are speaking. She's not afraid to use the harsh language that's being used because it's only fair for both people to know the feeling of the room. This next clip is also from The Shield, but since the language being interpreted is Korean, I can't give as much insight into specific language nuances, but there's still a lot to talk about even without knowing the language, just based on what's happening with the interpreter.
아버지가 일생 동안 모은 돈 다 없어졌어.
My father lost his life savings.
엄마가 책임을 져야지. 그런데
He couldn't protect my mother.
어머니를 그렇게 되게 됐으니 어떡해.
He would have been ashamed.
그래서 아버지가 살 수 없었지. 그래서 그렇게 된 거야.
He must have felt he had no choice.
We think her father knew his attackers. They talked for a while before. Does she have any idea who would do this?
누가 이런 일을 했겠습니까?
난 몰라.
No idea.
So the interpreter starts out great here using the first person. She's interpreting everything exactly as the witness is saying it. Well, I don't speak the language, but you get the sense that she's saying exactly what the witness is saying. The detective, Dutch, responds in the third person. He says something about, does she know? The interpreter could use that as an opportunity to remind him to speak directly to the witness. And then the interpreter does something I really like. Even though you usually try to avoid eye contact because you want the two parties speaking to each other, she sees that the witness is distressed. She's not cowering, but she's closing up a little bit. She's emotional, and the interpreter leans in, looking at her, and softens her voice and says it again because she's trying to. I'd say she's trying to maintain rapport with the witness. In certain situations, this might not be appropriate. I don't know if that's appropriate when questioning a witness in legal situations like this, but in the hospital, absolutely. If you are delivering bad news to a patient, or if you're talking to a family member of someone that's died, it is absolutely okay to show emotion and to be emotionally vulnerable back with whomever you're talking to. The doctors will do it, nurses will do it, and interpreters should feel comfortable doing it as well.
I'm off in there.
You leave your A game in your cereal bowl this morning?
Going through a translator, there's no back and forth. I got no rhythm.
Well, I see.
That's totally true. He says it briefly, but he says going through a translator. He means interpreter. There's no back and forth. There's no rhythm. That's totally true. If you're using an interpreter that's doing consecutive interpreting, like this interpreter was doing, then it can be jarring. The flow of the conversation's broken up, and you'll also catch people actually repeating what they've said because they forget that they've already said that.
Fine. Ask her if there's any ill will between her son and her parents.
She won't answer that.
Would you let her decide that, please?
I'm sorry. I know she won't. If she thinks we're prying into her family's business, she'll shut down completely.
So I can't even do my job now?
That's just...
Amazing. You might think, oh, that's inappropriate. She's not maintaining transparency. Being a conduit, being transparent is really important. A smaller part of the interpreter's role is to be aware of cultural norms. And even though it is a smaller part, this is a perfect example of an interpreter kind of chiming in and bringing some knowledge, some cultural knowledge to the people that aren't aware of it. I don't know a whole lot about Korean culture, but this interpreter is recognizing that if you ask that question to this person, she's going to shut down more, and you're not going to be able to get more information, or you're not going to be able to ask any more questions.
Let's just work with it.
We're looking for Nam Young and his friends Kenny and Paul. They were arrested together in the past. Do you have any idea where they are now?
당신 아들 남영하고 케니하고 폴을 찾고 있습니다. 그 전에도 같이 체포된 적이 있는데 어디 있는지 아세요?
어제 저녁에 케니 집에서 잤지.
He stayed at Kenny's house last night.
We talked to Kenny's mother. She thought they were at your house.
케니 어머니하고 통화를 했는데 아주머님 댁에 있는 걸로 알고 있던데요.
I guess teenage lies are pretty universal.
I never told that one before.
And that's funny, right? Even though some aspects of the cultures are different, across all cultures, apparently, kids still say that one says that they're sleeping at one friend's house and the other says that they're sleeping at the other friend's house. So that's it for this video. Again, good things that the interpreter did. She spoke mostly in first person. She did the cultural bridging. She shared information beyond just the language. She shared cultural information that she thought was important to help facilitate the communication between these people. So that was another 3 videos. Hopefully after editing this, it'll be a lot shorter than the other one. And yeah, so I'll make more. There's tons more. If you know of one, and I'm not fishing for like, leave a comment, tell me this, but if there is if there is a scene of interpreting that you're familiar with, and maybe you've even always wondered if it was accurate, feel free to leave it, and leave a comment about it, and I'll look it up. For all 35 people that watched this video, thanks, guys. I went like this, as if I was gonna stop the camera on here. I'll do it anyway. Thanks for watching.